Hi, this is going to be a short episode of Sonic Sperg-Out, like the shortest yet, because it's really got only one subject, and there's only a few observations on it, although they're pretty critical observations. We're going back to the Sonic movie and its character design specifically, but this time we're going to talk about the second poster release. Really, I guess you could call it the first poster, since the other one that has him all shadowy is just a trailer of sorts that doesn't really move much. So I'm talking about the one with the Golden Gate Bridge and the motion blur and Sonic's hairy legs and shoes. I showed this poster in last video, but now I think it's time I give it its own attention, because this poster has some really weird design elements, and it's not like this really is going to affect the movie, although it might. They might make this mistake in the movie, but I don't know. So, let's get to it. Now, once again, I'm not bothered by Sonic having athletic, human-looking legs. I'm not aroused, but I'm not bothered. It's just something that makes sense to Sonic on some level, in a way that other things don't always make sense. Because Sonic runs fast. He should have toned legs if they're going for a more realistic look. Compare that to Sonic Labyrinth, which slowed him down, Sonic and the Black Knight, which gave him a sword, Sonic Unleashed, which made him a werewolf. All sorts of weird stuff's been forced onto Sonic. This is the sort of thing that does reflect who Sonic is and what his abilities are, what his hobbies are. So I'm not going to criticize that. If they're going to go realistic, this is decent enough. But if they're going to go realistic, there's a lot of flaws with this. First, those shoes. Like, shoelaces, beyond that they're not like Sonic's shoes, just get in the way if you're gonna be running fast, because they could get untied, so it's much more convenient to have shoes that don't have that possibility. And yes, I know it's kind of stupid to interpret Sonic according to real-world physics, but here's the thing. This is a change to unrealism that didn't even need to happen. They could have just made those Sonic's regular shoes, and nobody would complain. So that's the first issue. But the second is that blur. Look at all the blurry lines going across the Golden Gate Bridge, and if you look closer, you can see that it even comes over the mountain in the distance, winds through the forest, and even to the right you can see a bit of it. So, it might be an interesting art bit in some other cases, but here's the reason I don't think it works for this poster. It just looks really, really dumb. Sonic is resting in that pose he's in on what I'm assuming is the top of the bridge, whatever you'd call that thing that stands over the bridge. Sonic's resting there, which means he's slowed down, so there shouldn't be motion blur, because he's stopped running. Moreover, and this is something that I'm getting really more technical into, that shot seems like it's implying it's from Sonic's perspective, and Sonic shouldn't view things in that blurry way, because if his vision was that blurred in the way a normal person's would logically be blurred, he wouldn't be able to avoid hitting things. So that doesn't work if you're going for Sonic's perspective. And yeah, this is called Sonic Sperg-Out for a reason. That sort of stuff is the sort of thing I obsess about. But I mean, even if it's not something you want to dissect technically, it just looks dumb. It looks like it doesn't fit in the same poster, because they combined an element that seems like it's supposed to be from the point of view to somebody who saw Sonic passing by, and Sonic himself. Sonic resting, looks like he's been resting for a while, so that blur shouldn't still be there. Like, motion blur is not the same thing as skywriting. Sonic doesn't skywrite. So, yeah, that's pretty dumb. And get this, the bit I observed about Sonic probably having eyes and a brain that can process data faster because he needs it, that was actually featured in an episode of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. It might have been 2, or it might have been just 2 times in one plot, where he was good at playing a slot machine because he could see things moving by fast and stop them in a hurry, and he was also good at the cup game, like the one where you put a prize under one cup of several and rotate the cups around each other a bunch of times. Sonic was good at that because his eyes are fast and his brain processes vision fast. So, in other words, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was more logical than this poster's design. And if you've seen Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, you know what sort of statement that is, because that show is batshit crazy and barely grounded in physics. Like, everyone looks like they're made of rubber, whether they're organic or metal or something else. And yet, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog got it right in a way this poster didn't. So just kick that around in your head with your muscular-toned, hairy legs. Anything else to say about this? No, I don't think so. One thing I can say about this. I'm kind of happy San Francisco will feature in this movie, which I think they're applying here. So I'm happy that'll feature, because it's nostalgic thanks to Sonic Adventure 2, and it can be a great set piece, although I wouldn't want the whole of Sonic's movie experience to be focused on real-world locations, since that seems like the burden of being live-action. They gotta get more fantastic and have loops and stuff. But I would like the San Francisco thing to be continued, and I like that it is. Apparently, one of the reasons they did that originally, the bit with City Escape and Sonic barreling down the road and knocking parked cars flying, is because Sega was headquartered in San Francisco at the time, and its employees got really sick of having a hard time finding parking, so they had Sonic go through parking lots smashing things up as a way to get catharsis. But also, there's other stuff like Sega has the Angel Island bit in their games, place where Knuckles lives, or at least works. There's a place called Angel Island near San Francisco, so I'm pretty sure that's a nod to this. And so I'm glad San Francisco will feature in this film. That is the one thing I can say I'm optimistic about, is I like that San Francisco will feature it, because I like San Francisco, and I like the Sonic levels set there, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we'll get at least some good action scenes out of this, but I think that's just about it. I can't really extrapolate anything more about this movie from this. I do want to mention briefly that the movie has opened a Twitter account with another image of Sonic's legs and a sign covering his face, sort of goofing on the whole buff legs thing, and even retweeting some of the people's tweets making fun of it. So hopefully this movie will be funny. I know people aren't all on board with Sonic being self-deprecating, but these days, I have more faith in a Sonic plot being funny than it being something I can take seriously. They aren't always funny, but they have never been easy to take seriously, at least starting with Shadow the Hedgehog. They've never been able to successfully convey a serious tone without coming off as stupid. Some people would extend that all the way back to the Sonic Adventure games, but I could keep a straight face through those for a lot of the time. Not so with Shadow the Hedgehog or Sonic 2006 or whatever other goofy, serious game they've made since. So, I am hoping this movie is funny, because if they play it as a comedy, I think it'll be easier to accept its weirdness compared to if they play it all dramatic. So, I expect it to be a comedy, and that's pretty much all I can say for now. Okay, bye-bye.